When thinking about things that could potentially increase my productivity out here, one tool sticks out like a sore thumb: a wheelbarrow. But in order for a wheelbarrow to be effective, I would need to create a path across 3 creeks and up a riverbank, and that is no easy feat. This week I decided to focus on experimenting with different designs so I could one day have a path all the way from my road to my camp. There are a lot of cool aspects and benefits to both the land and myself, but I think we'll save that for when I complete it. For now, we're just going to focus on the work at hand. Now there are a ton of rocks on my land, if you haven't noticed, and the size ranges anywhere from sand to boulders. These rocks are a part of an endless cycle that's keeping the forest from progressing, so I decided to utilize them to make the path. Every day for the last month, I've spent an hour to an hour and a half devoted solely to gathering and washing rocks. In that time, I'd started to develop various rock piles just randomly spread throughout, but I'd also been using them to build the path and my shelter. The path I'd started when working on the silt trap was a huge undertaking due to the sheer volume of rocks. So out of the section that we just cleared, which wasn't much by the way, it was only like a 2x4 segment. These are all the rocks that came out of it. I genuinely wish that I was joking. The rocks here are about 8 to 10 inches thick, so it can act as a water channel and slow erosion. It's pretty neat. And this path is only like 50 feet long, so after completing that segment, I decided to tackle the marshlands. The marshlands take up about 1/4 of my land, and despite frequent flooding, it's actually the healthiest part of the forest. But before I talk about that, I thought I would give a quick tour of my land so it can act as a reference for later. My land is divided into 6 topographically unique sections: the marshland, the lower layer, the upper layer, the highlands, the flatlands, and the unknown. Now, each of these sections present their own unique challenges, but in order to access any of them, I need to cross the marshland, so we're going to focus on that for now. What makes crossing the marshlands so difficult is that it has 4 creeks running through it. The first and major one is the one you see me work in almost every video. The rate of flow of this one is as high as thousands of gallons per minute to as low as 1 gallon per minute. It's pretty tough to build a bridge that can withstand that type of volume, so I've mostly ignored that. The second creek is a Leech Creek that acts as an overflow creek for when the main one gets too high. It's not that difficult to work in with this one because the water level has yet to exceed the height of the defined bank, and it's typically pretty dry. Creek number 3 is a Leech Creek that spawns from groundwater seeping into the naturally occurring channel where the floodwater has eroded. This one is pretty hard to work with as it constantly has a rate of flow of about 1/2 gallon per minute, and the water is just disgusting in all forms. Not to mention, it makes the area around it pretty soft and, for lack of a better word, marshy. Creek number 4 is one I seldom think about, but it has a lot of potential, but we're gonna skip it for now. So let's say you were able to make a path across all of those. That still leads you to the creek bank. The creek bank has an elevation difference that varies, but it's about 6-foot height difference, and pushing a wheelbarrow up that could be pretty tough. But hypothetically, if you can manage that, the rest is pretty easy. Any path from the lowlands up is simply a matter of gathering the rocks, which I have plenty of if you haven't noticed. I started by plotting the path through the marshlands and then throwing some rocks to act as a temporary border, all the while weeding to make the path more defined. That was really anticlimactic. I chopped a single root, and the tree just fell over. That actually ended up taking a full day, so I carved a stairway into the bank of the creek and then started backfilling the path between creek number 1 and creek number 2 with rocks. I eventually wanted this path to be about a foot higher than the rest of the ground for safety reasons, but for now, I'll take whatever I can get. It was coming along pretty nicely, but I was having a pretty tough time focusing because it was very hot and humid, and that makes sleep very difficult. So that final bucket of rocks is quite literally all I have recorded of this project. The end of the week also came with that final bucket. So I sat down and thought long and hard about quite a few things. Wow, what a disappointing video. I think when I return, I'm gonna switch to more project-based videos instead of like a weekly progress video, because honestly, I'm really disappointed with this video, and I think it would just be more beneficial to you guys and to myself if I were to show projects from beginning to end in one video instead of showing bits and pieces here and there, because it's kind of hard to follow and it's not a very enjoyable experience in my opinion. So while I'm gone, I'll have to think about that, because I don't know what exactly that looks like and what that'll mean for the channel, because that might ultimately end up meaning I don't post every week, which I really enjoy posting every week, but maybe I'll be able to post every week but then post project videos here and there. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, like I said, that's it. That's all that there is for this video. So until I see you in the field, happy hunting.